Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Baggins. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some updates for Rogue Company and also how it compares to the new first-person shooter game Valorant, formerly known as Project A. Let's go. So it's been a little while since we last did a video on Rogue Company, and I apologize for that, guys, but honestly, there really hasn't been much news, at least publicly, for me to cover here on the channel. However, recently, Riot Games finally showed off a little bit of gameplay of their first-person shooter game. Now, obviously, those of you who don't know, Rogue Company is Hi-Rez Studios' third-person shooter game. But from looking and what we can see out of there and based on my own experiences, the games do look and play kind of similarly. Now, the thing to be aware of is both of these games are currently under an NDA, or a non-disclosure agreement, so I'm only going to be able to talk about what is publicly available to you guys and on the internet. But as I say, I think it was a few days ago, Riot Games finally dropped some gameplay for Valorant, which is, I believe, the new name for Project A now. It's a first-person shooter game. It's going to be free to play, although it looks like it's going to be on PC only. Now, Rogue Company, we haven't really seen anything in the way of gameplay yet. In fact, the only gameplay that I know is sort of publicly available is that from DreamHack last year. So if you're in attendance at DreamHack from the 15th to the 17th of November, Hi-Rez had a little booth up in the corner. Well, I say little, it was pretty big, but you could play Rogue Company on the show floor there on PC and Nintendo Switch in both a 4v4 and a 2v2 format. Now, you weren't actually allowed to record any gameplay there, but since it was publicly available, I am, allowed to discuss my experiences of playing Rogue Company there. And I can tell you, based on what I've seen from Valorant, the gameplay is somewhat similar. And instead of 5v5 like you would see in Valorant, it is 4v4, but the teams are playing for an objective. In the instance of Valorant, it looks to be some sort of bomb that you have to arm, and then the enemy team has to disarm. And in Rogue Company, at least from the time in November, it was like a laptop that one team had to hack and then the other team had to unhack. So both obviously taking inspiration from CSGO and the sort of seek and destroy, find the bomb, disarm the bomb, plant the bomb, rush A, rush B sort of format. Both of them also featuring a shop sort of style where at the start of each round you can buy guns. Now, one of the things that I thought was pretty cool about Valorant is you actually see somebody buy a gun for his teammate. Now, when I played Rogue Company again back in November, may have changed since then, you couldn't do this. You just bought guns for yourself, so it was pretty limited. It felt there definitely should be some more features fleshed out there, and hopefully there will be some inspiration taken from what they've seen in this Valorant trailer. One of the things that I really want to hit on as well is the abilities. So the abilities in Valorant look quite a bit more exciting than what I saw in Rogue Company, again, back in November. I really want to stress this was from November. This was a publicly sort of playable demo, so shouldn't be taken as a final product, but it would be great to see Hi-Rez sort of release some gameplay of Rogue Company so we can kind of compare the two and, decide which one we're going to get more excited for. But as it stands right now, the abilities that we've seen so far from Rogue Company are pretty limited. The public sort of information out there, we look at this video, we can see this character here, Dallas. His unique ability is Tracker. Revealed the highest scoring player on the enemy team for a short time. So put a sort of wall hack ability on one of the enemies. Whether it's just to you or to Dallas seems to be unsure, but since that's his own ability, I would hope it was a team-wide reveal. The next character along we see is Phoenix. His unique ability is Stim Pack, so he heals for 75% of damage, or he can revive himself when he's downed. So abilities, they're not completely out there in terms of how crazy they are. If we look by comparison to Valorant, I'm gonna go from this PCGamesN.com article. I'll put a link to all of this stuff in the description down below if you want to look over yourself. But their first character, also called Phoenix, interestingly enough, he has hot hands. He can throw a fireball that explodes after a short delay on impact with the ground. The fire zone damages enemies but heals Phoenix. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but that sounds quite a bit cooler to me than just sort of getting 75% of your health back. Why not, while getting your health back, you can also deal damage to the enemies as well. Now, it seems to me that there is a lot more abilities for the characters in Valorant compared to Rogue Company. Each character has 4 abilities here, whereas in Rogue Company, so far we've only seen 1 ability per character. But if we look at this tweet from Scott Gandy, the sort of lead designer for Rogue Company. We can zoom in a little bit. It looks like this character does have 2 abilities. So quick deploy a smoke screen at your location. And then he also has gadget up, which I guess is more of a passive. Start the round with an additional instance of each equipped gadget. So seeming to be like 1 to 2 abilities per character in Rogue Company, whereas obviously the emphasis on Valorant is quite a bit more ability focused. The 8 characters that we can see here, I think it's 8. Each one of them seems to have 4 abilities, including an ultimate ability as well. So as somebody, you know, at this point, I've got to stop and say that I am a bit more of a fantasy nerd. Obviously, coming from Realm Royale, abilities is what I love, and I was sad to see when we dropped from 3 abilities down to 2. Thankfully, we're back to 3 abilities now, but that is something that appeals to me more than just purely gunplay. So I will acknowledge at this point, you know, maybe the sort of leaning into the guns more and the abilities are like a secondary thing appeals more to the Call of Duty, the CSGO market and Rogue Company than what something like Valorant would. But I mean, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think in the comment, looking at the abilities for these characters here in Valorant and looking at the abilities, albeit the limited amount of abilities we can see from Rogue Company, which ones excite you guys more? Now, one important point to hit here before we sort of wrap this up is Rogue Company is going to be playable on PC, on PS4, on Xbox, on Nintendo Switch, and potentially even on mobile. Towards the end of January, we saw the CEO of Hi-Rez Studios, Stuart Chisholm, I hope I'm saying that right. You can see here that he tweeted out a picture of his phone screen with a bunch of different apps on, and down in the bottom right is Rogue Company. So maybe we're gonna see a little bit of Rogue Company on the phone, which is gonna be a first for Hi-Rez Studios. Previously, Smite, Paladins, Realm Royale have been available on every platform but the phone. So maybe Rogue Company being on the Unreal Engine 4 will be one of the first games to be available on phone as well as all the other platforms as well. Obviously, that does give it quite a bit of an advantage over Valorant. I think it's fair to say that probably both of these games are going to be free to play. But yeah, Valorant being locked just to PC, at least for the time being, how is that going to affect, you know, this sort of player numbers? I know a lot of you guys who watch these videos do play on console, a lot of you guys on PS4, some of you on Xbox and Switch. So what do you think? Which one are you getting more excited for? Having, you know, seen this information, the abilities, the sort of comparison in gameplay, being able to buy things at the start of the rounds. There is a lot of similarities between these games. One of the main differences being first person and third person, but outside of that, I'm kind of having a bit of a tough time deciding which one exactly I'm gonna get more excited for. We don't really have a solid release date for Rogue Company yet. All we know is sometime this year, 2020 is all they've said, whereas summer 2020 is the date that's come out from Riot Games. So will we see Hi-Rez make any announcements in terms of like when exactly Rogue Company is going to be coming out? Are they going to try and beat Riot Games to the punch? Are they going to show us any gameplay so we can maybe get a little bit excited and, you know, sort of flex and show off and be like, all right, Riot Games, you know, you've come to play ball. Here's what we got. It's kind of interesting to see what Hi-Rez Studios are going to do next. The last bit of information that I wanted to talk about is just more ways that you guys can get keys. If you go to the Rogue Company Twitter, you can see that they've been giving out keys for PlayStation 4 and Xbox over the past couple weeks. So if those of you who are interested, like I say, I know there's a good chunk of you guys from console. If you want to get yourself a key for Rogue Company on any of the platforms, make sure you're following them on Twitter at Rogue Company. In terms of getting keys for Valorant, I don't really know anything about that yet. Keep an eye out though. If you guys are interested in more news on that game, feel free to let me know and I'd be happy to cover it. But yeah, that is my thoughts, a brief sort of look and discussion that I wanted to start about Rogue Company and this other first-person shooter game. And I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to think. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and click that like button. For more content from me, whether it's on Rogue Company, Realm Royale, any other games, just you want more Hobbit in your life, make sure you go ahead and click subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.